carbon taxes?
In a sense, yes.
I kind of guess what it is all the time, but I've never really looked into exactly what it means.
I do not. Do you?
I don't know.
No.
I know a bit about the carbon tax. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, essentially, my guess has always been that it's paying to offset the energy the carbon that you produce. So I mean, you just pay extra money, and we pay taxes on certain things that use more carbon, or produce more carbon, I should say. So I mean, that would be my guess on all these things, but but it does seem counterintuitive always that you're just paying money. I never know where that money goes, which is one of the things about the carbon tax.
Would you be supportive of adopting a carbon tax?
I'd have to hear all the facts and figures, but in general, yes. I mean, in general, it's not a bad idea.
I think it's a good way of ensuring that people who pollute more pay more taxes. I think it's a federally mandated policy that is beneficial in terms of not being selective in terms of how much people earn, but how much people pollute. So, yeah, I think in general it's as good a policy as we have to combat climate change.
I think it's helpful potentially, but I don't think it's going to solve the problem in the long term. I think the long-term problem needs to be that people are going to use more renewable energy sources.
I'm very strongly pro carbon tax. I think the data shows that it works, and I know Scheer's been talking about how it doesn't work, and I don't know where he's getting those numbers from.
I think that the carbon tax makes a lot of sense, given that these massive corporations are putting massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is influencing thousands of people's lives and ecosystems around the world, and they're not the ones seeing the impact of that. And the tax is a way of, putting that into justice.
Can you explain the carbon tax and the impact that this has on Canadians, both economically and in terms of the climate?
Yeah, so put in the simplest of terms is we put a tax on any time we are putting carbon into our natural environment. And the revenues from that that are collected in every province except British Columbia go directly to lower income Canadians who are not likely the ones who are using the most, who are not producing the most carbon. It's not just about let's tax this so that we can put money into stopping it in other places. It's about causing people to realize that you have to have a material behavioral change. So when we think about where our money is going, when we think about how that tax is being implemented, that we realize that pollution cannot and should not be free. Destroying our natural environment cannot and should not be something that we do without thinking seriously about those consequences. And so for me, I think it's a critical component in how we change our consciousness and how we operate as a country. And it's an economic step, but it's also an important social and moral step.
So we support the current carbon tax. I do definitely think carbon taxation is necessary. Study after study has shown that it works and that it's effective. I would like to see it progressively increase, and to also ensure that the regular people who are suffering from the carbon tax are aware of the rebate that they can apply for, and B, that the biggest polluters in Canada are not exempted. So, the military, the entire military industrial complex is currently exempted from the carbon tax, as well as fossil fuel industry and their production also currently exempted from the carbon tax. So we got to be closing those and making sure that they're actually paying their fair share and it's not just falling on regular people.
So the our objective is to keep the carbon tax where it is short term, and then slowly increase it, and give subsidies back to families that are low income, etc. But tax the people that are doing a lot more polluting. Definitely big business and big enterprise.